Welcome to Cancer is Curable Now. I'm Marcus Freudenmann, your host. While writing the book, we've been actually researching a lot. And it's been quite amazing when you go through and you research every single thing that's to do with cancer. And as you can see, it's quite a big, it's a Bible. We've come across a certain nutrient that we've actually overlooked. And it's strange because every single clinic that we went to told us that magnesium is very important. And that is actually for some, like an emergency medicine. For others, it's something to use in their cancer treatment as a very important protocol. And it's incredibly important, but somehow, you hear it several times, but you don't realize it just doesn't go in. And that's what happened with magnesium. And then we researched and we contacted Dr. Mark Circus, and it was all of a sudden something that we don't want to miss. And that's why I thought I'll share it with you today. When you think of your membrane of every single cell, like as Bruce Lipton says, the brain, the membrane of the cell, that's where all the functions are. That's where really the big brain, the intelligence is. It's not so much the nucleus that you can remove that and the cell still works. It's the membrane with all the receptor sites, like the cell opens up to certain nutrients and lets them in, and through that has, the proper constitution. And when that membrane is not working properly, well, then it can't replicate in a healthy way. It can't function in a healthy way. And that's what magnesium does. It softens up this membrane and it helps to activate all those receptors so that they actually work. And when you think about a cell, and that's my usual example, when a cell divides and splits, it's like a printer who makes copies. Well, all the ink colors would be compared to all the different nutrients and vitamins and all the elements that are needed to make this work properly. Well, if they can't come in, if that cell is deficient in all that and lacks in magnesium, which means it's not an easy process, well, that whole replication and rejuvenation doesn't work. And that's why we need to look at it. And that's why I thought I'll invite you into my screen. And then we'll go through, because I can't remember all the benefits and I can't remember this whole thing. That's why I've drawn it up, and I'll show you this thing in more detail with all the consequences that we need to know about magnesium, and then show you how you can replenish that. So, welcome to my little cheat sheet. We've done all the charts in our book about different elements and nutrients and vitamins in this form to actually give you an overview. And we always start pretty much up on top in the middle, and then we go in a circle clockwise around so that we explain all the different elements. And I thought I'd share with you the magnesium chart now because it's really important. Deficiency leads to cancer, and about 46% of the cancer patients have hyposomia. They are so low in magnesium that it can actually be part of the reason. Now, why is not every doctor telling you straight away that you have to take up magnesium? In actual fact, to relieve a lot of symptoms, and you will learn about that, and a lot of problems, and to strengthen yourself right away. Well, because it's very powerful, but it's very cheap, and it can be prescribed. It's not a drug. It's a natural element. It's a remedy that everybody can give, every naturopath can give, and you can buy it in every supermarket. So doctors are tending to ignore that. They're not trained to share that with you because they don't make a lot of money for pharmaceutical companies. But it is very important. Now, low magnesium dramatically increases free radicals in your body, which is already a very big problem in itself. And you don't want that. You have to have a high intake of antioxidants just to cover the problem that is caused by low magnesium. Every disease is about 3 times worse than without, or with plenty of magnesium in your body. And it increases all the pain levels because it's really related to cramps, to hardening, to getting stiff, to, everything that is uncomfortable within your body. Now, a lot of people would ask, why are we so low in magnesium? Well, it's pretty simple when you look at what the main culprits are to drive it down. When in Hiroshima, the bomb was exploded and they tested the urine of all the people in that high stress level, well, magnesium was in their urine. It's excreted by the body. It's one of the most important elements to deal with stress. So if your levels are low, then you deplete even worse. And that's why stress becomes a lot more overwhelming if you are low in magnesium. Alcohol depletes it. Sugar, salt, high calcium diets. High calcium is actually, the counterbalance if you have osteoporosis and calcium is pulled out of your body, out of your bones, out of your cells, well, then it's usually related to a low magnesium level. Processed food in any form, white bleached food, processed food, cooked food, everything is taking magnesium out of you. And coffee is certainly one of the main culprits as well. And that leads us to a lot of symptoms. And when you look at those symptoms, cramps, and we talk about any form of cramps, bowel cramps, anal cramps, digestive cramps, cramps in your leg when you wake up in the morning. Every single cramp is related to a deficiency. Your cells crave for it. They need it. Insulin resistance is reported in any form related to magnesium level. Seizures, pregnant women, very often when they have a child and they are depleted in magnesium, they get seizures. It influences your whole thinking process, insomnia, anxiety, anxiousness, headache, depression, osteoporosis, as I mentioned before. High and low blood pressure is related because your heart, your membranes and your veins and arteries all harden and stiffen up. Heart arrhythmia, heart attacks are very much related. And like when your blood level goes down in magnesium, which is the last thing that your body tries to maintain. That's why when you go into the emergency room, the first thing they give you is magnesium injection. And that's how they stop your heart attack. Well, autism, irritable bowel syndrome, fibromyalgia, constipation, and irritable bladder. All those things. And I think about 75 more medical conditions are related to low magnesium levels. Now, why does hardly any doctor realize that in your blood? Because it's not detectable in the plasma. As I just said, your blood tries to maintain top levels so that your heart can function well, and that's why it's pulled out of the cells. It's the intracellular deficiency which then makes all those cramps, all the pain, everything is 3 times worse because, it's pulled out of every organ that would actually need it. We had that. Well, it stabilizes your ATP, and that's really important. The ATP is your energy production of the cell. And if you have enough magnesium, well, the DNA and RNA transcript are actually repaired. They work well, they function. As Bruce Lipton says, the membrane, the brain of the cell is the most important, and that's what you repair by taking up magnesium. Well, it protects cells from cadmium, lead, mercury, aluminum. Well, that's the neurotoxins that you have in your body, and we really need to have a protection from that because lead is in the air, it's everywhere. Mercury in your fillings and teeth, that's a very important part that is protected. It's required for ion transport, which is, your grounding, your energizing, your blood energizing, and that's one of the most critical things to give you energy. Magnesium is required for 300 enzyme reactions. Well, enzymes break down undigested proteins. They help you digest. They pull the nutrients out. They are important. Well, if you don't have magnesium, you don't have those 300 enzyme reactions. That really doesn't help to get well. It's required for glutathione synthesis. High levels of magnesium inhibit carcinogenesis. And when I said in the beginning that your cells replicate, and they replicate weird and abnormal cells, well, that's what we call cancerous cells. And that's inhibited with magnesium. When you have low levels, your cells are so stiff and hard that they cannot throw out those heavy metals, neurotoxins, and other toxins. You cannot detoxify your body with lack of magnesium. So, like it's a very natural substance. It has no side effects. You can't overdose. Whatever you overdose is excreted, and that's it. Like there is no symptoms to it. And that's why it's important, and you have to take it up. Now, you can do that certainly by eating mountains of seaweed and sea vegetables. That's certainly a great way, but it's not everybody's favorite taste. Nuts, well, that's probably easier. And I'm not talking about peanuts. It's about, all the healthy, fresh nuts and organic nuts. Very important. They're heavily sprayed against fungi and all sorts of things, so you don't want to buy anything but organic. Greens and vegetables, broccoli, beans, they all contain magnesium, but you really have to eat a lot. And that's why there is different ways for uptake. And the very most important, if you are very deficient and you're suffering from cancer, is certainly to do it via intravenous treatment. Go to a doctor, have your levels tested, and then have intravenous magnesium. Have that trickled in over a period of 3 weeks, like ongoing, so that you fill up all those deficiencies, and you will see you feel so much better in a very short time. Transdermal, that means you spray it on the skin in form of a solution, in form of a magnesium oil. You have it sublingual, and that means you spray it underneath your tongue, which is very, very immediately absorbed in your body, like homeopathics and the other remedies. You have a foot bath, which is very relaxing, and for elderly people who don't want to get into a whole bathtub in and out, and which is, like a little bit more involving, you can just do a foot bath and do that every evening, a warm, really hot foot bath with those magnesium flakes, and you put them into your bath, and then you go and sleep afterwards. So much better, and you have slowly replenishing all those deficiencies. There is a very limited oral uptake, because if it goes through your digestive system, it doesn't really work that well, and you need to take quite a lot orally before you can fill them up.